Loco, crazy, out of control. As Stephanie said, I don't think anybody's ever called Jerome Powell out of control in his life. But Jerome Powell's on a schedule that is roughly similar to the one that Janet Yellen was on to increase interest rates. You can debate whether that's the right thing to do or the wrong thing to do, but it is not particularly unexpected.
No, I mean, listen, what the Fed is doing right now is reasonable. You're right. There's a debate whether they should be going, quite this quickly, but it's well within sort of the general realm of, of what you might expect. Right. But what I think is really strange here is that if the president's really worried that the Federal Reserve is raising interest rates, well, then perhaps he should not have supported a big bunch of stimulus when the economy probably didn't need it. And that's the issue. That's one reason they're raising rates is because of that stimulus.
Correct. It's easy to blame the Fed and Jerome Powell,
took that into account.
The government imposed a set of tax cuts that are doing some of this. What's wrong with this?
When Ali Velshi goes, you know you're on the same page he is. All right, but here's the thing. Conventional wisdom would tell you it doesn't matter what the president says. The Fed is going to do what the Fed is going to do, except we are not living in conventional times.
Correct.
So you could see Steve Mnuchin say, no, it's not the Fed. This is totally normal, blah, blah, blah. But is the president going to be successful in pushing this narrative out so loud and so repetitive that maybe it will impact the Fed? Maybe Jerome Powell and others who like to keep things not so crazy will be impacted by this, and they'll actually slow their pace.
Well, listen, I mean that maybe that's his hope, and in the past, presidents have tried to browbeat, even having leaks about the Fed to get the Fed to do what they want to do. In this case,
but there is no president.
The opposite might happen. The opposite might happen, where the Fed feels the need to perhaps maybe raise rates a little bit faster or a little bit more to show investors around the world that they will not be influenced by the president, and they will continue to fight inflationary pressure and reduce inflationary expectations.
Do you agree with that?
Look, I look back at I'm trying to think, 1992 was it, when George Bush took issue with Alan Greenspan doing the same thing? No president ever likes rates being increased in a September or October before an election. But the Fed's I'm trying to think of examples where we think that a Fed has been influenced by a president's rhetoric. I can't really think of it.
Well, LBJ, Nixon. I mean, those are the famous episodes where then it became clear to people that the Feds needs to be independent. And like I said, Trump may end up doing just the opposite of what he may be trying to do.
Except I think the two of you are missing one key point that takes us outside of history and precedent. President Trump is the World Wrestling Federation champion in terms of browbeating and pushing his narrative so hard that it actually exhausts people into doing things.
Right, but and James, you would know this better than we would.